Rajesh, most of us know you and most of the people know you, most of us know me. So maybe later on we would talk a little bit about ourselves. But tell us a little bit more about when we say entrepreneurship and raising funds. That's what we wanted to do. So tell us about this whole relation of entrepreneurship and raising funds, or let's put it like the entrepreneur-investor relation.
Sure. I think once again, Aditi, thanks so much for having me here and letting me share my experiences and my learnings along the journey with all your fellow audience. So just to give you a brief background, hi all, I'm Satish Kataria. I'm currently investment head with Viridian Angel Fund, which is a Category 1 SEBI registered angel fund, which looks into early stage investments and kind of helping them with fuel capital. Before that, I've had an experience of about 20 years professionally, in which I think I may have started about three, four startups of my own, and would have helped and worked closely with more than 70 plus entrepreneurs, helping them in their funding journey as well as overall business strategy.
Exactly.
So, and also along the way, I have been fortunate enough to work across management domains, starting from marketing, PR, moving on to investor relations, and then moving on to working with different kind of venture capital funds, right from real estate fund to even India's first film fund, which was investing into films. Uh, and then pioneering crowdfunding in India way back in 2010 when the concept was very new in the country as such. And then, being an entrepreneur in residence with a few interesting accelerators, and then finally working with this Viridian Fund. So that's my brief introduction. I think when you talk about entrepreneurship and raising funds, both these activities are very closely linked to each other because, uh, fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of people believe that entrepreneurship is all about raising funds, but that is not true. That is
Exactly.
exactly not true because raising funds is just one small subset of the overall entrepreneurship journey. And I think entrepreneurship is not just work. It's not just one kind of a particular job. I think it's a complete journey. It's a complete experience in itself. Because when you as an entrepreneur are about to kind of build your own path, make your own journey, work on your own specific idea, and how do you do that? How do you set the ground from ground zero, and take it to a scale when it starts impacting maybe few hundred people, then few thousands people, and then millions of customers, start believing in your vision. How do you sell your idea to your first co-founder, and then you start building your team around that, and then you start building your distributors and your marketing partners, and the journey just keeps going on from there. So I think out of the entire journey, funding is a very very limited. Yes, it is critical part of it. I would not deny that, but I think it's a very very small part of it because uh, funding is just one tool. Funding is just a kind of a small fuel which can help a startup to go from step A to step C. But funding is not end all of entrepreneurship, right? Because there have been entrepreneurs who have built huge businesses without any external funding. All they've done is bootstrap. All they've done is able to raise the money that they needed to run the operations just from truly satisfying and understanding the consumer pain that they have been trying to resolve, and and helping the customers get right kind of solutions, and making those customers pay for those solutions happily, right? So I think in that whole perspective, funding is again, as I say, it's a small subset of total entrepreneurship journey, and entrepreneurship involves a lot more things. I think last 2 years, especially, have been very tough and have been quite insightful. When it comes to the startup and the investor's journey, respectively, right? I think a lot of investors have learned their lessons. A lot of founders have learned their lessons. Despite the fact that there were few startups which were able to attract millions of dollars, were not able to scale up, were not able to grow up, and that essentially tells that it's not the money which will let your entrepreneurial dreams grow up. It is something lot more inherent. It is something lot more stronger and more visionary than that.
So I take it from here. In fact, we always say that okay, this business is really smart because it's doing it on the customer money and not on the investor money.
Yeah.
So there is like clearly a change. But however, I'd like to share. We have here, Shrit, I have yes, and we have some more people here. Yes. So a little journey from see post my MBA and post my from the Wharton School, and then after 128 when I started my own entrepreneurship, and then there were some acquisitions, etc. Then I moved on to the space. That time was a recession, the whole 28, 29. And we saw the coming out of some future entrepreneurs, whether it was Foursquare or Airbnb or whoever, at those times, which really did not at all set on an investor money to start with. And I think this COVID time, even if there's a loss of more than 47 million jobs in the US or even worldwide, it is not necessary that with the investor money that the entrepreneurship has to start. Well, we'll discuss about the whole other issues or whole other areas where it is. But before that, I want to address to anyone who I always get this feedback, Satish. They say, Aditi, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money to start with. I don't have enough capital. So that's one myth which really needs to be busted, that money is just one resource of many other such resources, starting with the most vital resource, the entrepreneur himself or the entrepreneur herself. And as Satish says, that investors learn in their process and entrepreneurs learn in their process. So I have been on the both sides of the entrepreneurship and the investment, and I see, and I'm sure you are also, have been coming from that background, so you see the dynamics which are going on both the sides of the table. Now the whole concept of crowdfunding, guys, in our country is not very, I would say, developed. Like many people do not even know that yes, if you can just if you have a product ready and if you put it up on a Kickstarter or a Indigo, and there are ways how you, on algorithm base and with basic minimal marketing expenses, you can pull up the funds and you can give the delivery within 3 to 6 months of period after the product is done, and then you smoothly manage that same funds in the carrying of the organization. So Satish, with all his experience and his overall looking, because as he has also like me been both the sides of an entrepreneur and an investor, is going to take us that money is just another resource. It's not a must to be on entrepreneurship. B, there are different possibilities of getting money, just not an equity. And if it is an equity, what could be the possibilities? So before we get into that, I'm just checking any more question or comment. Okay, so Satish, tell us a little bit on crowdfunding in our country now.
Sure. So Aditi, just to give you a brief introduction again on crowdfunding. So at a very basic level, what crowdfunding is all about is, it's kind of democratization of the whole funding process, where instead of me approaching just few individuals or the money power lying in just few hands, I now start approaching the entire community of potential users of my product or my idea, and or people who would actually like to back that kind of an idea, right? And again, it's a kind of a I would say advanced sales or advanced bootstrapping. So I'm saying that instead of selling my product to the potential customers once the product is already developed, why can't I take a step back and say that, okay, guys, this is the idea that I'm working on. I have already built a technology. I have already built an interesting IP around it. I have built an interesting product configuration around it. So why will you like to become the first set of customers for it? And if yes, why don't you pre-buy my product, right? So this is one kind of basic crowdfunding which is more relevant for startups. There are other models of crowdfunding, obviously. So we all know about social crowdfunding, wherein you're basically using the power of internet and community to raise money for social causes. Something like COVID, or someone needs medical help, someone needs education help. So I will not go into that space because that's something which is very different and more charitable concern than more entrepreneur concern, right? So that was saying. So essentially, crowdfunding is kind of when you democratize the funding, and not only that, I think more importantly than that, crowdfunding is also a very very strong validation for your idea. Because today, if customers can pay you 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees just on the strength of your idea, they have not even seen the physical product on their hand, and they believe in you, in your team capability to deliver on that product, in your commitment to kind of make that product happen, and the strength and the uniqueness of that whole idea, right? I think if they can believe in that, and if they can pay you on the power of these two factors, there cannot be any more stronger validation than that. In today's market, I mean, indeed, uh, the way crowdfunding has emerged in Western markets, a lot of investors normally want all the new product ideas to actually raise some money through crowdfunding first, because that becomes a kind of a litmus test for the entrepreneurs to kind of prove that yes, a market exists. It also gives them a lot of feedback on a kind of a product market fit that they would like to go for. What are the kind of reactions a customer would have. Instead of wasting your critical dollars on the marketing, you would actually make customers pay you for your own marketing, right? So that is what all crowdfunding is all about. Talking about crowdfunding in India, yes, unfortunately, because of restrictions on regulations in India, and a kind of a big regressive approach by Indian regulators, we have not been able to promote equity crowdfunding in Indian market, right? Because with equity crowdfunding, it basically means that I can now raise proper money to invest in my idea, from amongst thousands or hundreds of your general investors, right? Uh, but what we can do in India with respect to startups is kind of a product crowdfunding or an idea crowdfunding, which actually also forms part of the model which we call as reward-based crowdfunding, right? Wherein what we do is that we cannot give equity or a financial return back to the contributor, but what we normally tell to the contributor is that whenever the product or idea is ready, you will be the first buyer, or you will become the first user who will get to use this idea, right? And that is something that has been aggressively growing in Indian market. So our platform Catapult, has been kind of driving product-based and startup crowdfunding for last 7 years now, and I think it's been a very exciting journey. We have seen more than 100 plus ideas, right from your health tech to edutech to agri-tech, to consumer tech, evolving and using the platform to kind of garner customer feedback and also to garner the initial money that they normally use for prototype development and for marketing development, and launch the first set of their products before they can approach the follow-on investors or angel investors for the first proper equity round in the company. So this is what, in brief, is what crowdfunding is all about, and I think it's definitely, as you rightly said, it's a very, very strong tool. If someone doesn't want to depend on venture capitalists or venture investors, and also if someone is looking for a relatively small amount of money just to prove their idea, just to have first few prototypes developed, they should definitely go in for crowdfunding.
Yeah. So Satish, you guys, you already have got the whole picture of crowdfunding. You also heard from one of the people who's been aggressively doing the crowdfunding in our country. Now, let me break it down to some little points. That you see, the inside of crowdfunding, guys, is basically you have a group or a community of people for certain obvious reasons or certain other reasons which are different groups of reasons that they would like to test that product or that idea first even before it is like properly launched in the market. So these people are already forming. Okay, guys. So like this is an inside thing that these guys are already there in the crowdfunding who are waiting for you to get that life-changing solution, which can be in the form of a product or can be in the form of a service. So don't think that if you have an idea and if you don't have money and you're still trying to solve a big problem, that there is no taker of yours. No, 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 not at all. So in fact, if you have it and the bigger is the problem solving, the bigger the money is. So let's put it that way. Then, when you put it on the crowdfunding platform, and as Satish had said, that whether it is at a product prototype or later, whatever money, they are already believing in your idea. I repeat, this can be for a service or it can be for a product. So those guys out there who are sitting at home thinking that I don't have a product in place, but I have a great idea or a service in place. You have a dream, you have an idea, but you could not translate it into a service. Go ahead, translate. And when they believe in your idea and they put in money, what happens is from that product version 0 or the service version 0, you go to your next version because you get a whole feedback of how the product is working in the market. Plus, you get a whole community. You get a whole community of the people who are using your product. So crowdfunding is smart. It is something which needs to be tested in a little intelligent way. And as Satish says, there are numbers of investors who actually look into it, what has been the metrics of the crowdfunding whatsoever. So please do not think that entrepreneurship is difficult because money is a very important resource and I don't have enough money. We address that. Or I don't know how to go to the VCs. It's a very elusive thing. I don't understand. There are different ways, as we spoke about and addressed on crowdfunding. Satish, on the third one, if you could also explain to people just not about crowdfunding, but there can be a different structure of debt and what could be even from angel investors. Apart from them, they can be family, friends, and there can be a mix of funds which can be created.
So, I think before I go on to that point, let me also briefly put a light on what you have been saying, Aditi, that a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs would not like to start off because they fear that they do not have the money. But I think it's all about smart bootstrapping nowadays, right? And actually, if you ask me, until unless your business is highly capital intensive, you really need some high power machines. I think even that they are available today. And I think today in India we have such an evolved ecosystem that
Exactly. Exactly. I
that
completely agree with this.
you do not need a lot of money to get your products to the market, right? So you have innovative financial tools, options like crowdfunding. You have government support. You have a lot of state grants that can help you out if your idea is innovative. I People have actually every college today organizes business plan competitions, annual business plan competitions, right? And every business plan competition has prize money of lakh and a half, and if your idea is really strong enough, I mean, I've seen entrepreneurs, who have been doing rounds of different colleges, and they have been kind of winning these business plan competitions and winning 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, and yet then using that money to free money, using the
Exactly.
free money to kind of build on their idea. Why not? I mean, it's just, that's something you have to be innovative.
In fact,
If you,
Satish, I'm very excited to add here and cut you in between saying that I'm very, very passionate about kidpreneurs. I'm seeing the international schools like the Indus and the others, as you were saying, from standard nine, they have this incubator cell. And they are really taking in ideas when we have the major investors from Bangalore and from Mumbai, they're coming and doing the rounds. It just started this 2020 onwards. And also, guys, to share with you, one of the boys whom I was mentoring recently, his name is Avi Shah. You can Google him out. He had raised 20 million dollars just about, today is Tuesday. Yeah, so last week we had raised for him, and all he did was he's from the Institute of St. Mass Institute of Management, Pune. All he did was he tried to bring the consumers and the brands closer together by using the pixels of the reward points of Citi, Amex, or SBI card, or whatever. So he didn't have a product, guys, all right, but he had a vision. He had a vision of how is it that the major brands are getting lost with their customers, the customers are not sticking to them, and how to bring them together. So I was so excited. I want to share this when you talked about that. Even at this level of kidpreneurship, or boys and girls who are at 20, 21 years of age. And as Sophie says, today's ecosystem in our country is really great, guys. Just jump in. And I give back to Satish to continue from there.
yeah. So, again, as I was saying, so today there are, there are even specific venture capital funds which are coming up only to help student entrepreneurs, for all you know. So there's a fund called Hostel Fund, which is coming up very soon, and that fund will only focus on investing in students and their projects, So the whole ecosystem is opening up big time, and again, you do not need money because I think what you need to focus on is kind of building the right product. What you need to focus more on is kind of identifying the right customer set that will actually buy your product from you. Because believe me, I mean, I think even if you do not have money, and even in that that life, you are able to get 100 customers. The first 100 customers of your product with your bootstrap operations, you and your co-founder, and maybe picking up some money from a crowdfunding of a platform, or picking up some money from what we normally call the schools and friends, right? Pick up some money from them, build your product, sell to your first 100 customers. That's all you have to do. After that, things will start falling in place automatically. You will automatically start getting traction. You will automatically start customer feedback, and you can even start attracting investors even at that stage. Believe me, But again, as you all say that the boldness lies in taking that first step. If you can take that first step, things will start falling in place. So I think that is what I wanted to kind of emphasize on. Taking on your question, Aditi, which was about debt funding, right? So as I was saying, there are multiple schemes today, right from there are multiple state governments which are giving kind of collateral-free debt to startups, even to early stage ideas. There are a lot of accelerators and incubators which are linked to MSME, and which are linked to the government, and also run by both private and public institutes, and they are willing to invest up to a crore into early stage companies. You have schemes like CGP SME, which give collateral free loans to startups and entrepreneurs, who have starting and who need a certain capital asset to able to back up their idea, right? And then even within investors, I think you have structures like venture debt, which again kind of give you a very attractive terms on giving debt to you. If you have kind of established certain initial traction and growth in the business. So as I said, I think today India is full of multiple funding options, right from your crowdfunding to your student entrepreneurship funding, to incubators, accelerators, a lot of individual investors You have platforms which are helping you to connect with investors. So I think all it needs is a right formulated idea. All it needs is a right customer and marketing strategy, and a kind of a right skill set within your team. If you can prove that you have the right kind of skill set in your team, again, even there, it's not necessary that everyone has to become a part of the team. You can have mentors, you can have advisors who can give that specific skill set or advice to you. Even that helps. So all you can do is, if you can kind of build your product and get your first 100 customers, believe me, you would have already crossed the initial chasm, which 80% of startups or 80% of founders who start off cannot even reach to that stage today.
Exactly. So here, so back to this, Satish. Again, for you guys, I want to break it down. Start with zero. What
Yeah.
big problem are you solving? Because it's not about you, it's not about me, it's not about Satish. It's about those people whose problem you're trying to solve with your skill, with your expertise, with whatever you have. So once you define which problem are you solving, define your customer avatar very well. That who are these customers who are going to benefit from this particular solution, and that's it. Please keep that funds and money thing away from you. It comes. It just comes. And I want to say, I want to add when Satish mentioned about an agri-tech company and others who he's already working with. See, one of the startups whom I'm mentoring, they have international team members, so they are working, and none of them is paid. Right? None of them is paid. They are building their own dream and vision together. So what happened was this: they had a particular. They are also in the whole hydroponics, the next generation, that is a soilless growth of plants. And you know what happened, guys? They were looking for grow lights because these plants they are not going to grow in the sunlight. These plants can grow even in your urban kitchens, all right, where there is limited sunlight. So they were looking for grow lights, and in the process of finding out vendors of grow lights, they also found an angel investor. All right, who believed in what they are doing. So if your vision is true and if it is like really solving a problem, you will find collaborators from inside your ecosystem. It's a process, and trust, it's fun. It's fun, you would find it, and your first 100 customers is your magical customers. Then, as Satish says, it can be traction, it can be something else, but something keeps bringing on. Our new Indian system has a lot of mix, which later on, if you guys get in touch with us, we will take you, we will hand over to you. There are a lot of ways. It's just not WCTL, or it is just not letter of credit, but there are numbers of debt mixes which are coming up, and those are also alternate sources of funding. So coming back to what Satish was saying, Satish, if you could also add a little bit more on bootstrapping, because I think that whole concept is a little blurred. And then you can move on to just the first level of maybe the angel investors or Series A funding.
So I think again, I will slightly go back to what you were saying. See, I think the most critical question that entrepreneurs should have an answer to is why. You know, and this why, as we all know, can be broken down into two levels. Why is one is, as you rightly said, it's all about if you are very confident that this is the exact consumer pain point that you will be able to solve with your solution. So if you should be very, very confident that yes, this is an actual pain point, and there is a market for this pain point, and consumers will pay me money if I can solve this pain point, right? So that's a very critical part of the question why that you have to answer. And the second part of why you want to answer is that why you? Why am I rightly placed to be able to answer that consumer pain, to be able to answer that question, to be able to fulfill that need? Do I have the right, do I have a right kind of technical skills, Am I really passionate on that one area that I really want to work on that area? Because see, again, all of us, may have unlimited money with us down the line, but all of us have limited time. You know, time is not unlimited, unfortunately. So you guys have to understand that if you are plunging into entrepreneurship, I'll be very frank. It's not going to be an easy journey. It's going to be a challenging journey. It's not going to be a linear curve. It's going to be a journey which is a lot of ups and downs every day, right? So you have to be very confident that if I have decided to dedicate next 2 or 3 years of my life, to solve a particular problem and to work on that problem, you first of all should be highly convinced yourself that yes, I really want to do that. I really want to spend 3 or 4 years of my life to really work on that one area. Really want to do that, solve that customer problem, right? So that is a very critical why that I think you should answer. Coming back to your question, Aditi, so as I said, all entrepreneurs start with bootstrap. Now, when I say bootstrap, I think, uh, see, an entrepreneur has to look out at innovative hacks of being able to bootstrap. For example, one of the first things that an entrepreneur today needs is a cloud. Is a software cloud where they can host their website, right? Today, all the major cloud players, right, be it Amazon, be it Microsoft, are offering free credits, to you. So that's something you all you have to do is be able to smart enough to be able to understand that where can you get free stuff. You can get free cloud, you can get free offices. You can work with your co-founders. You can kind of share the resources with them to be able to build the resources that you need. You can so again, so there are a lot of companies which are even supporting travel for startups today. So all you have to do is being able to today you have companies like Zoho, right, which are offering you free marketing solutions. You have companies like HubSpot, which kind of give you free access to building very very strong CMS systems within your website, so that you can very effectively manage your leads and kind of market your product in the market. You have companies like GetVantage, which can offer you free media space, right? They will actually pay you money to be able to advertise your business on Facebook and on Twitter for free of cost. They will just take a future share of your revenues down the line. So that's what I'm saying. Today you have to be very, very smart, clever to understand that what all sources that you need to use money, and how can you save money, on those sources. Where can those sources come to you either totally free of cost, or can come to you at a very highly subsidized cost. And as I said, today, if you really search hard, I think 90% of the resources would be available to you at very, very cheap or very, very subsidized cost. And that is the reason that, bootstrapping today is a lot more effective and a lot more possible than maybe even it was 5 years or 7 years before we talk about today, right? So that is when I say about bootstrapping. And then I think as you slowly evolve in your business cycle, in the growth cycle, you first get your 100 customers, you get your 1,000 customers, right? You take support of your friends and family, or your early customers, to kind of fund your operations, to fund your growth. And only after you've reached a certain traction point, that is where that you will become eligible to start attracting the attention of venture capitalists, right? Because what they will like to see is that, okay, you have been able to go beyond the product market fit. You have been able to prove the traction. You have been able to build a kind of a scalable and sustainable customer traction for your product or idea. And now you actually need money to be able to multiply the efforts that you already have put in so far. And that is where, again, you have multitude of platforms, angel investor networks, which will be happy to listen to your ideas and give you support. I mean, seriously, I mean, if you are, I think largely, I think money is not something which is difficult to find in today's age. You know, if you are a good entrepreneur and you're working on a on a strong, genuine idea, with the right team, money will come knocking at your door. Believe me.
Exactly.
Money is not a challenge in that sense. And then I think as you start building your traction, so so as you then I think your first step obviously would be to seek funding from your independent investors or your early stage venture capital funding, and they normally would like to have a look at your business projections. Again, when I say that they would like to have a look at the business projections, they are not looking very closely on the numbers. They are looking at the underlying assumptions behind your projections, right? Have you been able to map out your growth over after maybe 2 years or 3 years down the line in a right way, right? Have you taken your revenue expansion in a right way? Have you taken your market sizing in the right way? For example, market sizing itself, could be a bit tricky because a lot of entrepreneurs they normally adopt a kind of a top-down approach when they talk about market sizing. For example, I would say that okay, India has billion plus mobile users, and since I'm launching a mobile app, I can safely assume that 10% of the overall mobile users will download my app. So that's a very wrong way of sizing your market, right? When you're sizing your market, you always have to go bottoms up approach, right? You have to be very, very clear in understanding that this is a precise segment that I will cater to in my first 1 year or in my first 2 years, and within that whole segment, this is what the whole size of the segment, and within that segment, I will be able to penetrate, let's say, 10% or 20% of the market, given my marketing resources that I have, right? So you have to always take a kind of a bottom-up approach. When you're doing your market sizing, your assumptions have to be right, right? I'm not as an investor, as I said, I will not hold you for your numbers. I'm not looking at saying that okay, you have to have break even in next 2 years, or you have to break even in next 3 years, or you have to grow 100% or 200% in next 3 years, right? But yes, your assumptions have to be right. Your revenues and your expenses, the ratio of that have to fall in proportion, right? Again, one of the common error I've seen is that a lot of entrepreneurs, they normally show a very high level of growth in their revenues in second year or third year, right? But they do not show that kind of growth in their expenses, right? For example, they will say that okay, I have a team of 5 people, and that 5 people will continue in my team for next 3 years. Now, obviously, that will not happen, no, because if your business is growing, if the number of customers are growing, you will have to expand your team accordingly. You will have to expand your expenses, and you have to invest in the people at right time, right? So just because you wanted me to, you wanted to show me a high growth, you have downplayed on the expenses, right? So you gotta do that. Your assumptions, so modeling has to be precise and has to be as accurate as possible at that time. So those are a few of the statistics or few of the tips, that one has to be careful about. I think what I'll do is, I had prepared a small presentation on this, but I
So,
think
yeah, one moment, Satish, before you start
yeah,
on that, on the
no, no,
bootstrapping.
okay. No, Aditi, what I was saying was maybe I will not go through the presentation, in space of time. I will make this presentation to you, and I think what you can do is you can just share this presentation
That would be
with
great.
all the audiences, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
that
would be great.
so they can use the presentation to see
Yeah.
and understand that what are the typical metrics that investors normally look out, when they want to invest into a startup. So that these metrics, I think, will help the startups and the audience to understand that what they need to focus on when they are approaching investors in that perspective.
So same here, guys, who have got the first set of 100 customers and who also have their business plan, financial plan, revenue plan in place. And nowadays, I always tell you that you must have another sheet of a digital plan in place. Remember what Satish said. Bootstrapping was not so easy when we were doing this. All right, bootstrapping has become easy because of the whole digital evolution, all the tools which have come. So today, you really do not need to pay the expensive freelancers if you want to have a. No, that doesn't mean that the freelancers are not useful or they are not a part of the ecosystem. Of course, they are. But what I'm trying to say is this, there are apps and there are applications which are available, whether it is a CRM, whether it is a digital tool, or whichever it is, which makes your whole entrepreneurship task in a very circular way, not even in a linear fashion like a Trello or some other kind of a task management, but in a very holistic fashion. So as Satish is also going to share, if any one of you is interested to know those tools, those CRMs, please get in touch with us. I would also be sharing that. Another thing, guys, the trap which you mentioned. See, these assumptions that, okay, 10% of this population is going to be my customers, this vision is a fake vision. All right, so this does not work. So you work it from the numbers, as you say, bottoms up approach. We always, as investors, would flip it and see that how is it building from there. Your trust is your first 100 customers is your key. So don't get into a lot of an escalation of numbers, and get into those. Even if you have good, delighted, I would say some with mixed feedback, first 100 customers, you're going great, you're like great guns at this point of time. So bootstrapping, yes, do not fall into the trap of what he mentioned and get your CRM, get your whole ecosystem in place. I also have a digital online business plan if there is anyone who's really interested to take it, where you can take the specific country demographics and you can actually work it down from. So if anyone is interested, we would do it at a later point of view. Before ending the session, Satish, I would want you, we all have come with an experience of 20 years plus, and we still are learning and relearning. And entrepreneurship, guys, is tough in the sense that if you're thinking that it's going to be like all the time game, no. But if you know how to gamify it, if you know how to make it fun, and you know that this is what I'm meant for this, and I can build this solution, there are tools and there are mentors available who can show you the smart ways of going about it. That's why I say entrepreneurship is fun. But you just need to have that attitude that, okay, I'll go through this. I'll go through this. Yes, I will build it and I will go through this. On this, I would like to address one more thing, Satish, in today's session. I come across a lot of failed entrepreneurs, and these entrepreneurs are generally in the age group of 40 to 55. Some of them are taking a transition to become solopreneurs. Some of them are taking a transition to just sit back and be on the equities, MF investments and others. Some of them are not rebuilding because they are not understanding how to go about, where to go about, because they have been belonging to a different era and something happened. Funds were mismanaged or they have lost or something happened on the way. Today's evening, I'm sure there is going to be at least 8, 9 of those entrepreneurs here. Guys, this is not the end. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of a new era. Let's just drop our old, as I mentioned, both of us come from 20-year plus experience, but we are relearning, unlearning all the time. So if you could drop that little thing of things the way which had worked before and embrace a few new little things, if you've built an empire, you're going to build it again and again. So Satish, your takeaways for the failed entrepreneurs, and remember the word failed, guys, is beautiful. 10 years before, Australia the major organizations would be picking up people as CEOs who have failed and not the ones who got the MBA degrees. So failed entrepreneurship is a great asset. So over to Satish for your takeaways for this section.
Yeah. Indeed, Aditi, I think failure is one of the best teachers. Indeed, I've also made a kind of a video series, which is called as Failure Acha Hai.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
people,
saw that. Yes, yes,
yeah.
good.
So people can go on the YouTube link, of Build Your Own Path, and you can watch these series. Wherein I've actually interviewed, very prolific entrepreneurs and investors on how did they handle challenges and how did they handle failures in their life, right? So I think. I think failure is a very very humbling experience, and I think it's one experience that you must have to actually understand and recognize your true strengths. Because after that, once you fail, once you realize that this is something which I couldn't do, and then even after that, you decide to get up and take a leap ahead. I think that is what makes you truly strong, right? And I think again, failure is just an event. It's not a failure of a person. You know,
Exactly, exactly.
you know,
Guys, please hold it. Please
my
hold it. It's not, it's just an event, or two
exactly.
events.
I mean, my business may fail, my day may fail, my venture may fail, my thoughts may fail. But that doesn't mean that I have failed. I have learned.
So
I have.
athletes, Satish, athletes are failing all the time, right? I mean, they're losing and they're coming back, practicing losing. They're failing all the time. Yes.
Right. So, I mean, I mean, if I recall, what Thomas Edison said when he almost had 1,000 experiments before they actually found the bulb. What he said was that I've not failed 1,000 times. I've just learned
No.
1,000 ways to make my bulb better. You know. So I think it's all about that, and I think failure is always a kind of a stepping stone, or a stepping journey towards success. So if you take failure in a right perspective, if you are able to really learn and interpret as to what happened at that time, without getting attached to it, without getting biased towards whatever happened, and if you are able to commit yourself that, okay, so if you are able to learn your lessons and then move on, and do not repeat those mistakes or do not repeat those errors again, believe me, you will only end up being higher than where you were
Yeah,
before. I'm not
exactly.
saying that you will succeed totally. It may take you 3 failures, 4 failures before you finally reach to that point. But then every failure is a stepping stone. Every failure will make you succeed higher and higher, and will make you kind of correct your errors, correct your personality, and make you stronger every time.
It's Satish, I love stories, and most of you have seen Nasir Hussain, the Nas Daily, right? I think my 9-year-old daughter loves watching the Nas Daily. So if you know about him, he's from the guys out there. You see, he's so popular. He's a blogger, and now he's in Singapore. He's meeting the presidents of countries. He's influencing. He's having a massive impact on people. This chap was also like us, was an MBA from the Harvard, and he thought that I've got real game-changing ideas. And what he did was, he saw that people are reading newspapers when they are having only 1-2 minutes of time. They don't have the whole time in New York and other places to really go through all that. So he came up with this app of 1 minute newspaper reading. That okay, women are traveling, they're crossing the roads, there's a traffic signal, just check the news and go. It failed. Okay, the Harvard business graduate with a trendy idea failed. So he thought, okay, so let me try on another idea. You know what he did is he saw people were traveling. Well, that was not COVID time. People were traveling all over, and especially travelers like us, we don't want to travel heavy. We want to travel light. So what he did was he made a hub of similar T-shirts, or which can be used for light travel, and he can cargo them anywhere in the world. Say I'm in the in Greece in somewhere, and I know that okay, I would need another 3 T-shirts. I write to the company, and the company sends me the T-shirts. And he thought, well, it's a game changer. It failed. So you know what he did? He did a takeaway. The first takeaway was from his 1 minute, and the second takeaway was to travel. And he combined these two, and he started with his 1 minute NAS daily video, which he used to travel, and he still does it, but it's in a different format all over the world. So what Satish says is, if you fail so many times, it is actually what Thomas Edison said. You see, a bulb has actually changed our lives because he knew 1,001 times of what not to do.
Yeah.
So you are already at an up position because you are taking the takeaways. So don't sit back. Don't think that I have failed. I mean, you failed means actually you've gained something. And put them together. What did Nas do? He just put one together, and see where is he now. So failures, in fact, is to be accepted, embraced. Go ahead, fail. And this particular age group who are coming to me and they're saying, I thought I have built a legacy, Satish, but then things didn't work out, or factories are closing, business is getting shut down, there is a society issue, this issue, that issue, I'm debt ridden. Don't stop. Look at the opportunity cost. You guys know the opportunity cost, right? Start it from now. Start it from today. Build up on all these failures. Yeah, I am. Thank you. Thanks to see these comments. Yes. And so I think we covered a lot. In fact, we'd love to have you all over. In fact, Satish, of course, he would give the presentation as she said. If you want anything else, I would also be sending any other input if you want. And if you want us to address again with very, very specific problems, let us know, write to us. We love this. And of course, we love this whole ecosystem of entrepreneurship, mentoring, investment. And I think a whole bunch of entrepreneurs in today's country, in today's India, can make a massive difference, guys. I mean, a difference, a better world to live in. Yeah, Satish, you were saying something.
No, absolutely. I think I totally agree with you.
Yeah, please, Satish, it was really lovely to have you over. I never realized that we were live. I thought we were just discussing and pouring our hearts out. So, guys, see you soon. And the whole week ahead, I hope some value, more importantly, something from Satish, something from me, something from the whole evening, which you could just pick up maybe one thing and move on. Yeah. Satish, thanks again.
Thank you.
Yes, see you soon. Same. Bye.
Bye.